All right, well, over the last year and a half, Connecticut schools have just seen so many changes because of the pandemic, and it can get confusing for parents. We know. The Fox 61 School Squad has you covered, though, out of West Hartford this morning.
Julia LeBlanc joining us now, live outside of Bugby Elementary School. She's got all her school supplies ready to go. Julia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Erica and Margot. Well, you just heard from Angelo. A school supply kids will need this year in all Connecticut schools are masks, but the West Hartford Superintendent actually made that call for his district a while ago, and there's a lot of other changes that he's putting in place. So we caught up with the superintendent to get a better picture of what those differences look like this year.
The vast majority of parents are really happy with the mask mandate.
Long before the governor made a final decision on a mask mandate in schools, West Hartford made the call on its own.
Just trust them, and you have to trust each other and take care of each other, and I think everyone is really trying to do that.
There are people that are more concerned. There are people that are, we've got to move on. So you try to hear what people are saying and hear where they are and meet them where they are. But at the end of the day, there's certain things we have to do.
Like keeping desks at 3 feet apart. Superintendent Tom Moore says that makes contact tracing easier.
If this child tested positive last year, you would have seen this child, and this child, if they had been together for more than 10 minutes, would have gone into quarantine. And maybe those two desks, depending on how it measured out. This year, with everybody masked in the regulations and vaccinations, you're more than 3 feet. If everybody's been masked during that time, only this child that's tested positive is now in quarantine.
Moore says higher vaccination rates in their older students is a big help. Nearly 80% of them have at least their first dose of the vaccine. To boost that number, the district is hosting a vaccination clinic before the start of school. As for remote learning, well, there isn't any.
Remote learning and even hybrid learning, where that interpersonal relationship between kids, it just became too easy for kids to be isolated.
The State Board of Ed isn't allowing it. Good news for this pair of West Hartford parents who double as teachers in the district. Their kids had different experiences last year, but when they got back in class, they had the same result.
Middle school can be tough and just a lot more anxiety and knowing kind of what's going on a little bit more. And elementary, they really were in their cohort and with their group of kids, you know, if they're at school, they're just happy.
Now there's time for hope, because we got a lot of work to do. We have kids that have missed a lot of stuff. We have teachers that were nervous for a year for good reason. But now it's time to get back to hope and possibility for our kids.